I do believe, Gromit, we are live on the izlogic channel. He says, hoping, praying that it's live. Hello. Hi, yo. What is up? It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me. I'm just gonna quickly... Why is it doing that? So yeah. How's everyone going? I'm gonna put some nice chill, relaxing beats on in the background. There we go. It amazes me how quick I can find this. There we go. Nice, quiet beat in the background. I wish I knew how to balance it properly. That would help. But yeah. I'm trying some new settings on my mic. I'm also going to move myself a bit closer so I can actually do stuff. Chuck that over there because I feel like crap. If you know... I think I've already said it about 5 times today, as well as in the latest video. It's me go biking day, so I'm a bit out of it. Now, audio-wise, I'm hoping this is a little better than normal. But yeah, we're gonna be covering off, as you're probably well aware, the Heretics vs G2 game, which, from my understanding, is a pretty good game overall. And I'm also gonna stick my headphones in my ears so I can actually, I'm going to do something pretty cool. I'm going to monitor my own audio for once. I know. How often do I do that? I've got the old headphones here, so I can listen as you do. So I'm going to monitor my own output. Let's see how this goes. So... oh, this is a little bit nice. This is very, very nice. Hi. What's up? Yeah. So I'm just messing with my mic settings. But yeah, we're going to be doing a VOD review, as you're probably well aware. And usually when I do this, it's a pretty chill thing. Anyway. Gonna move that over to there. Oh. It's a little bit spotty because it's crashed. Nice. Over there it goes. Okay. Let's get into today's best of one. It's Heretics, as well as G2. Only one team can win. Which will it be? I'm going to enhance my bitrate. And over we go to draft for this best of one. G2 on blue, Heretics on red. Probably the biggest thing to point out about this this update is the fact that essentially we're on 14.1.b. It doesn't say the B there, but the patch is live on this LEC gameplay. If you want to know what changes have happened, there's a few items and champions getting a little nerf. One champion that didn't get nerfed is Akali, and it's been my permanent ban alongside Fizz in ranked. But the rest of the band coming through from G2 see Senna and Seraphine removed. This has been something that's been picked up quite heavily into week 2 of the LEC. Essentially, what it is the fact that G2, well, no, any team's been piloting it. It's double support items that essentially equate to a lot of strength, and it's been just a nightmare because you generate so much gold off of it. Ashe, Draven, Kalista removed off the board by Heretics. That does mean that ADCs kind of take prio in first rotation, but there's like a Phalios left open. But G2, smart enough to grab for themselves a Varus. They realize that this pick is probably one of the only good options left open for Hans Sama in terms of his pool. And granted, that pool of champions is quite limited if you think about it, because as a whole, he isn't a player who's known for being an Aphelios player or a pick like that. Like Jinx, I wouldn't think is a Hans Sama-esque pick. So the fact that he's gone over to said thing, kind of nice. First rotation though for Heretics sees Xin Zhao coming through, as well as Azir for perks. You've got a solid control mage mid, as well as a Xin Zhao who is really strong at the moment. Titanic Hydra, very good at getting basically the bonuses and damage down. It stacks so well with the Q and his passive, so you basically get a hell of a lot of output when it comes to team fighting, plus the fact your ultimate negates ranged effects. It's very, very good in that regard. Now, G2's second rotation, I do believe, saw Lilia and Cassante coming through to either side, as the graphics have broken. They're more broke than Carmen Corp right now, after everything. But yeah, we'll soon see the graphics, but Lilia has kind of snuck its way back into meta as a whole. It's been one of these picks that have kind of found some success. It's not that strong in terms of the fact that you've got teamfight power late game. It's more so the early game clear, and going into a Xin Zhao who has a fairly effective clear in his own right, being able to deal with it, kind of nice overall for G2. Next up, you've got the Cassante to pair alongside it, so it's big beefy boy frontline for G2, and you know, I like some big beefy boys. It's very, very strong in that right for G2. Heretics, they've gone with Jhin. Don't know why. I wouldn't really necessarily thought Jhin was that good in the current state of the meta. I'd genuinely prefer a Jinx overall. Lucian, Aphelios. And then again, I think Lucian, granted, he's very, very weak right now. I still like the pick overall for caps in the mid lane. So I get why Heretics have banned it, though I would have much preferred it if they went for it and then probably match mid with Tristan. Well, they could in theory have picked Tristana, because I think Cabs is looking at that angle with the fact that Corki and Lucian's banned. Larson piloted it to very little success. It was more one of those rogue stagnant games that had very little progress. Rumble Gwen removed by G2. You're denying some of the big carries in that top lane to Heretics to Wonder, so you may think he may have to go down towards his Gragas, his Udyr, if he feels like it, because you've got an AD in the jungle, but instead it's going to be the Poppy, so Braun versus Braun in that top lane, unless it's a flags. G2 could have baited us all. I'm not going to be baited in by the Aatrox hover just yet, but it is G2. And I think every week they've pulled out something weird and wild in their drafts. that has somehow worked out for them. Will this be one of that types of picks? Now, what I will say is, realistically speaking, you are looking for maybe a big pick. And Nautilus, I don't know if I like that. It gets countered quite hard by Poppy. And there's the Tristana locked in. I expected that, to be honest. But as a whole, Nautilus, don't get me wrong, it secures engage, and you kind of are expecting a Rakan maybe to come through for Kaiser or Bard. So there is 2 squishies, 3 squishies that you could get good hooks onto. But realistically speaking, and that's Braum, wow, that's a defensive draft from Heretics. But realistically speaking, G2's draft, very aggressive, wants to siege, has good team fighting and poke into the late game. I think Heretics just get outscaled and outdrafted here. Like, sure, you've got good utility with the Jhin. I really hate the fact. So I'm now thinking in my head about Jhin. Essentially, I remember a game recently where my first ranked game of the 2024 season, I told someone that Jin's a utility pick, a utility ADC, because you have the stuns, you have the curtain call from range. You're not necessarily the main upfront damage in a fight. You're the more setup-esque or executing pick, rather than I'm going to be the sustained ADC like a Jinx or a Felios or one of these picks that fire in lots of shots. You're more so utilitative in setting up for the rest of your team to do damage. It's hard to explain that to someone sometimes, but hey, we're getting into game in a couple of seconds. G2 versus Heretics. G2 are obviously going to be on the blue side as we load into the Rift. For the first time, G2 2019 face off against current day G2 in the LEC. I'm hyped because I've gone this entire weekend with 0 spoilers. And, you know, that means I basically missed every single game. And I haven't watched them because from what I've seen so far, it's been quite a boring weekend. Anyway, level 1 play being set up here by G2. 4 members are going to be spotted out. Perk's smart enough to spot it, but there's still the possibilities of an all-out level 1 brawl. Caps hovering, looking as Lilia and Poppy off towards the top, prepping this sort of start. And with a bit more knowledge now, I can talk about items. I've actually had some time to play on the meta, understand these items, because this is actually the live patch for League, and it's a very nice patch overall because I know some of the strong picks. As a good ward there by Heretics spots G2 making this play where they see Yankos' start. No sweeper though on Heretics' side. You have to field. That's actually a lot of level 1 wards coming down from Heretics as well. You've dropped 3. And something you don't typically see is that many wards. You usually expect one entrance ward into the side jungle or the invade ward here if you're a G2. Invade ward there if you're G2 or over the wall like that. And vice versa for well, not on the bottom side. No one typically puts the one there. They put it on the alcove of the Raptors. But typically speaking, what G2 have done, or Heretics have done, is over-invested into the vision early. Because Lilia, as a champion, wants to steal away camps. So I like this play overall by Heretics to respect the pick that Yike has gone for. As Lilia probably will full clear, even though she's unaware of the ward situation on Heretics' side. She'll probably just full clear to play safe, They know that Jankos started on his blue buff, so they're expecting him to do a full wrap. And looking at early game level 1, level 2, I would say Azir slightly outfavors the Tristana, because you kind of have the ability to go aggressive with the extra sand soldiers compared to what an explosive charge and your Q, so your rapid fire. You don't invest early into rocket jump in terms of this game if you're G2, because you're realistically just expecting Yike to farm. He doesn't need to play proactive in ganking. Xin Zhao may, so you may take it because of that. However, you don't really need it as a whole. Bot side, we're seeing some aggressive trading as expected. Braum, Jhin, very defensive as a bot lane duo. So Mickey gets essentially aggressive. It's very hard for Heretics to actually match it. And personally, looking at the comp that Heretics have, I don't like this bot lane combination of champions. Braum's great when it comes to defense and protecting your team, but pairing it alongside a Jhin really doesn't work for me, as Mickey's going to be rooted. Going to be able to just use his anchor toss to get back to the wall. But as I was saying, really, realistically speaking, is the possibilities of dive coming through. Jankos hovering. And will be spotted. G2 going to probably back away here. That's going to reveal that they know about Jankos' position. Ward's going to be dropped there by the Xin Zhao. He's just going to walk around. This top side, Poppy getting aggressive. Broken Blade taken quite low. The Steadfast Presence going to deny the W through. And that's going to force Cassante back to his tower. Realistically speaking, top side is a bit of an interesting one. Cool start for Wonder. And this is kind of the funny thing about topside matchups, that I think we might see a little bit more now. It's topside's just a wet noodle fight. And essentially, you're trading defensive stats for more gold, for extra sorts of healing off minion kills. Realistically speaking, I like this item for top laners to be picking up more. Because we know Ken and tops play it with it a lot. Vayne's top do it as well. Oh, I understand the Lilia pick strengths. Void grubs are just so easy to take. I like this. It's probably one of the best champions alongside Nocturne, maybe, to take Void grubs. As mid, Cabs jumping way too far forward. He gets the explosive charge off, but he is stunned and killed off for first blood. There's a good roam play there from Kaiser. Secures Perks a kill. That was just better roam timings coming out from the Heretics bot lane. Braum got there quicker and was just hovering. And as soon as Caps jumped forward to go for the aggressive trade so he could get a good back off, he essentially just loses his life because he's unable to rocket jump back to safety. Real good play there by Kaiser to match the potential play coming out from G2. Now that being said, he has given up pressure in the bot lane as we watch this again. Caps, he jumps forward. Kaiser hiding out of vision. Once he gets a safeguard forward, the stun comes through and Caps is rooted to death. Good play overall by Heretics. Now, obviously, one of the big issues for Heretics right now is the bot lane. Because Kaiser made that roam, it left the Jhin in an isolated 1v1 with a Varus. And Varus obviously will have poke and wave push. So it has resulted in a minion wave essentially being denied away from the Heretics ADC. In return, obviously, you are getting perks ahead. So hopefully he's going to be able to translate some of that gold advantage that he's gotten for himself over towards this bot lane. That is something we're going to have to wait and see, as I say. But as it stands, I do like what Heretics are doing. However, you have kind of ceded an objective in the bot lane due to the fact that Hans Hammer has been able to surmount some pressure for himself. And he's also going towards his first item, Serrated Dirk, in the inventory. Lethality, Varus, very strong, very potent in terms of the poke and RS you can do from range, as a lane gank could be coming through here. Cassante catches out the Poppy. It's going to be a full charge forward, as going to sleep is the Poppy, as a lilting lullaby isn't going to secure a kill in that top side just yet. Never mind, it comes through now, as here comes Xin Zhao. Yike falls for the first kill over to the Heretic side in this play, as bot side G2 managed to get themselves another, as mid camps force flash away. Rocket jumps straight into an Emperor's Divide. That's a great play out from Perks to force a summoner for basically free. G2, they're starting to feel aggressive. Starting to feel the need to snowball this game, you have to feel, as we watch this a little bit closer. Never mind, Perks is going back in once again. Forces the glide away by Perks. Is there now getting back up from Kaiser? So, as a whole, we should realistically see a bit more of a slower tempo now. However, Void Grubs are spawning in less than a minute, I would have to say, as we finally get a replay. So bot side, Mickey just puts the depth charge down onto this Jhin, gets the cleanse out, and Hans Hammer is just able to execute. Clean. Bot side, Mickey continues to press the advantage, gets taken quite low, as out goes the Corrupted Chains, and Kaiser gets taken incredibly low. Dive will not come through, and G2 get 2 kills to the 1 in return to Heretics, obviously in the top side. The Grub's going to be started off here by Jankos. Bit of a surprise to say the least. Yike going to give them up. It's going to be a 3-3 split of these Void Grubs. However, due to the fact Jankos is taking them, there's no one really down in the spot lane to protect Flakkid. And it's going to be a bit of a difficult situation as the hook lands. Jhin could be rooted, death charge thrown out, the corrupting chains gonna tag on to Kaiser, he becomes the main target for G2, and they get the executors in the mid lane. Empress Divide gonna get Caps pushed in, but a great rocket jump pulls Caps to safety, as TP thrown out here. Wonder hunting, looking for his former teammate in Mickey, who's on the wrong side of the map. Gonna possibly have to flash over, but hi, here's the Braum. Slide through. Great use of the W, the Deadly Flourish from Jhin. They're gonna secure the kill, as well as a nice bit of gold, as Mickey, way too aggressive, overstepping into Flakkid, and it costs him. Now, all in all, this is kind of an interesting game, to say the least. This is 3 kills to 3. Mid lane starting to see a bit of a change up in members, as Wonder has roamed over there. Perks has gone top into the Cassante. 2-0-0 is Perks as well. He's got a nice amount of kills for himself, and it puts him second on that leaderboard. The only other player to sit above him is Hans Hammer, who's, let's be honest, had a free lane overall here against Flakkid, who's been realistically unable to get anything put down. Now, I don't like what's happened here, is essentially Heretics are seeding pressure on both sides. Because you put Wonder in the bot lane, and that's just to soak up the minions and XP. But you're giving up pressure topside. Perks has had to walk away, and that's allowed Broken Blade to get push and put the minions into the tower. Obviously, he'll be running Demolish, I believe. Yeah, he's gone Resolve, so he will have Demolish, so it's going to be at least a turret plate picked up for himself. That's huge. And you look at the combat gold for this upcoming fight, if one comes through. 2k in the back pockets of combat gold for G2. And they are certainly sitting at a higher level. So, realistically speaking, Heretics shouldn't be looking for a fight here. The gold well in favor of G2. Plus, their objective taking skills is stupidly high. Double ADC just means objectives melt. And sure, you could say the same with Heretics with the Azir melting objectives, but Jhin doesn't provide the same sort of melt as a Tristana and Varus do. Has Hans Sama Soldier serrated that? No, he's upgraded it into Umbral Glaive. Didn't realise that. No, it's Ghostblade. I can't tell what items are based off the pictures. Nice. But yeah, he's gone Ghostblade. Extra movement speed. Also a lot of extra damage with the lethality. Just makes Varus very, very potent from range. Plus the fact that when you hold Q, you get slowed down. So the extra movement speed from that item going to be able to boost his movement and get him into better situations to snipe away at the health bars of Heretics when it comes to objectives. Plus, look how easy it is for him to clear the wave. It's basically 1Q plus an E kills the back of the wave, and it's 3 autos off of 1Q to kill the front minions, minus the cannon. But yeah, G2 certainly playing an objective game here. And that's kind of something you have to do with Lilia. Let's be honest, we haven't really seen steal away objectives. Because she's kind of just been roaming around as a whole, just putting her lanes ahead in some regard. Even if she hasn't successfully ganked, I would say, -1 probably playing the top side. She has kind of just been there to protect players. And that's kind of something I really like in what Yike's doing. Sure, he plays a carry-orientated game, but his positioning is flawless when it comes to protecting his lanes. As right now, where is he? He's roaming down to the bot side because he sees the possibilities of a gank, with Wonder being quite far forward. Obviously, the bot lane tier 1 fell. First tower of the game goes over to G2. And as a whole, it is kind of interesting, to say the least, that G2 kind of are controlling this game. From just macro plays in terms of lane assignments, I'd say is giving G2 quite a bit more of an advantage. Because when it came to that second of Drake being on the map, Heretics kind of all grouped up to go contest it, but they never made it into the river. They never stepped that far forward. And they ceded pressure top and bot because of it. So, as a whole, Broken Blade got a bit of a lead off of it. So did Hans Sama. 1.6k in the back pockets of this Varus. 200 gold bounty. And a Herald going into his back pocket here. This should be a very... Actually, it might not. It's going into Caps' back pocket alongside Yike, as Swirl Seed's going to be thrown out. Tags on to Perks, where we see a lilting lullaby. No, we will not. So G2 continuing to siege. Mickey takes the Herald in, and this is going to be a potential fight as Xin Zhao gets dove straight in top of Caps and gets a kill as Wonder gonna knock away Hans Sama, but he has isolated himself in the back line of G2. Broken Blades turned up, and the lilting lullaby, you have to feel, is going to be huge as a 3-man sleep. secures a double kill over to Broken Blade. What a play. Out from G2 here as they're looking for more. Oh, good night, Kaiser, as Yikes steals away the Quadra, I believe, as Empress Vide tags onto Broken Blade. He's still hunting. He's still hungry. He's got a double kill in his back pocket. I don't know why I said Quadra there. It's nowhere near a Quadra kill. In fact, I've got to be honest, G2 getting a lot done on this rift. That looked like an overstep, but it was very well punished by G2. They catch out and isolate members, and Hansama was knocked away as Perks. Could have almost died there. Cap's not going to go overly aggressive as we watch this play again. Mickey just rides the Herald in. And this puts him in a bit of a situation as Kaiser, he isolates Caps. He sees the target, gets on top of him, and boom. Caps falls. Then Wonder steps forward, and you knock away Hansama. So, Heretics are like here. Both ADCs are gone. This looks like a one fight. But Cassante doing Cassante things as a great sleep also comes out from Yike. Secures the big kills as Deadly Flourish back in live. Lands onto Mickey, who's quite bulky. And instead, they're turning onto Kaiser. And he gets executed off by the Cassante. Cassante doing Cassante things. That's all I need to say here. Is G2 secured himself soul point as well as a kill onto the Braum. I'm intrigued. This Braum pick not working out overly well for Heretics here. And while I like the pick overall because you kind of negate some of this poke from the Varus by standing in front of your carries, you are very susceptible to being hooked. And that to me just seems like they counterpick themselves in the bot lane. G2 got a free counterpick by the enemy team. Nuts. Anyway, let's take a look at everything. That's a nice item coming into Hansama's back pocket. I forget the name of it, but it's very, very strong. He's a full item ahead of Ghostblade Jhin. Can't say I'm a big fan as Mickey jumped on. Curtains are opened. But the lilting lullaby, yeah, feels going to come through. Indeed it does as Caps gets onto the backside. Flanked, taken quite low. And Hansama, he's hunting. He's thriving. The arrow lands onto Flanked. Jhin not going to get away. Yike steals away another kill. And Caps is going even further forward. Diving under the tower. The explosive charge can be negated by the Zonyas. And that's a double kill over to the Lilia. G2. Find 4 members, and you have to feel they're going to turn straight towards the big purple worm as that's just spawned. But Wonder, he's not really been able to find an avenue into the game. I realistically think he's done quite well in terms of stagnating some of the pressure in the side lanes. But he has fallen a little bit further behind as TP going to come through from Wonder. This looks like Heretics are going to make a stand for the objective. The Baron taken below 2k. Knocked out the pick goes Mickey, and that's the Baron Nashor secured for G2. Broken Blade, he's standing in front of 4 members of Heretics. He's going to go all out and looking to get a kill, but he's being chased down. Perks going to push him back to the team and gets the big shutdown. G2's top laner falls. And that is going to be a nice amount of eco into the back pockets of Heretics, even if they do give over Baron. So, we watch this play onto Mickey, where it looks like they've caught him out. He steps way too far forward into Yankos, rooted, knocked up, curtains open, and he's just executed off. But on the backside, Caps fires an amazing flank, and while he's trying to execute off Flakked, he pushes both the Azir and the Jhin into an awkward situation where they're kind of isolated and forced to go back in towards G2. Then Caps goes a little bit too aggressive, force flash out from the tower. However, it does force Perks to go into status. And G2, realistically speaking, They get the Baron off of all their members falling, but here we go. Lilting Lullaby gonna come through. Yike isolated with 2 members of Heretics, but here comes Mickey. He's gonna isolate himself as well into the 4 members of Heretics, and he gets killed off by Yankos. But the chase down could come through here for G2, and Samet just firing into Wonder's health bar. Perk's gonna drop himself a sand tower to kind of allow Heretics to roam back to the safety of their base. But with a minute left up until this next Drake, G2 are pushing Heretics back into their base. They've got another minute of this Baron as well, so that's going to overlap with the Soul spawning. Yike's just going way too far forward. If Heretics were looking for it, they could have easily punished Yike there by getting on top of him. They landed the Zin W, so he could have gone in. Instead, not going to chance it. Also, look at the items. Four steel-plated boots for Heretics. Well, don't get me wrong, G2 are very heavy in AD with the double ADC and Cassante. You are dealing with 1 route with the Varus, 1 route with the Nautilus, the Sleep from Lilia. I honestly would much rather be seeing Merc Treads, as Swolseed's going to land onto 2. Here comes the Lilting Lullaby, forces the cleanse out from Flakkid. As Yike, he's stepping forward, another Swolseed tags onto Kaiser. G2 are just forcing Heretics back with brute force, thanks to Caps' push in mid lane. This is just cruel. Watching this as G2 secured themselves Soul. And Heretics, they're stuck in the bot lane. Wonder's just having to deal with Broken Blade standing in his face. As G2 continuing to siege, Baron's worn off, but the engage comes through. Curtains open up, targeting out Mickey. Wonder's going aggressive, but Deadly Flourish gets flashed. G2 remain healthy, remain standing. The Mountain Soul will give them shields, and that's going to mean Heretics are forced to back away. G2 siege way too powerful, as Yankos continuing to be harassed and poked down. But G2 will not back away here. Continuing to siege, they've opened up an inhibitor, and they're going to get that for themselves. TP in behind. G2 are aware it's a double TP. Perks and Wonder not going to go overly aggressive. G2 have backed away, and in fact, all of Heretics are dispersing from this bot lane. They realize they can't contest G2. Instead, they've got better chances of fighting towards this Baron and stealing that away. And realistically speaking, that is probably their best bet. You've got, obviously, Wonder's Piltover. What is it called? His ultimate. It's not the Piltover Peacemaker, that's Caitlyn Q. I forget what it's called, but essentially the Noki away ability. He's got that for himself. If he can get that onto maybe Yike, there's a chance for a steal to come out from Yankos. But you look at what G2 are doing, it's actually surprising how much vision Heretics have set up for themselves. They're aware of this ward, but not this one, not this one. So there's avenues for Heretics to steal this. They know the objective's there. However, this is a huge however. Both Perks and Wonder TP'd to the bot side in an attempt to kind of fight G2, even though they would have lost the game and they were smart enough to back away. Realistically speaking, it was an overplay by Heretics to double TP. That's my thought. However, what I will say is, because of the fact that they've TP'd, G2 will always have pressure due to super minions in the spot lane. That's obviously going to be an issue. G2's minions, I presume, are pushing up topside. It looked like they just got cleared out. I might be wrong. Yeah, they're pushing topside. So G2 have pushing 2 lanes. They're going to have a third pushing lane in a second, but essentially, Heretics are having to give up on sides as G2 finally clear out the wards. They know that Heretics had some vision, so they're well aware of the possibilities of a play coming out from this Heretics squad as 2 members hit by more Lilia poke. And it's the fact that the Liandry's and Lilia's passive just tick away so much at a health bar. Perkz is forced to go back to base knowing that he has to clear the minions. And now G2's opportunity to go towards Baron opens up. They see Perkz is on the wave. They know he hasn't got TP. And what do you know? Straight over to Baron goes G2. This is just perfect timing. And I think Heretics, they realize they've missed their opportunity. The fact that they haven't got TP means the Baron goes down. And G2 secures a second purpley worm buff for themselves. Yeah, this is a snowball, isn't it? That's all you need to know from the gold graph. It's just clean League of Legends. And Mickey is stepping forward. He's hunting. Flakkid does have cleanse. So if Mickey does land a hook, he could possibly get out. Granted, you are then having to deal with the depth charge and the passive from Nautilus if you cleanse the dredge line bit, but he doesn't. Instead, he goes on to Wonder, who just pops a steadfast presence to deny it. Lilting Lullaby comes through, forces the cleanse out from Flakkid, and here comes G2. They've already gone on to Perkz, and he is going to be instantly killed before the fight even begins. All Out goes through from Broken Blade, and he's going to be able to secure the kill onto Wonder. Now G2 stepping into the base, on towards the fountain, and they're looking to secure more as Flakkid falls. Caps secures the kill for himself, and G2 get themselves another inhibitor, and you have to feel that's the game here and now. Make that all 3 inhibitors down as the Nexus towers are next to fall. They're diving the fountain, you feel, and they're gonna secure themselves another kill. It's amazing. Caps only got 1 kill this game, and it was the one we just saw. And now G2, they beat 2019 G2 that won MSI, or 3 parts of it, and get themselves a pivotal win in securing playoffs. There you have it. That's another game in the books for me. Honestly, I thought it'd be a little bit more competitive. All things considered, I think the bot lane sucked for Heretics. The reason I think it sucks is because you've picked a very low action bot lane where ADC is a very powerful role. The fact G2 picked 2 ADCs should be a big gimme as to why it's such a good role. But essentially, you give over 2 big pushing champs in the Varus and the Tristana. It is really just a bad draft from Heretics, I would say. Perkz did well against Caps. That's a big thing. Getting a massive control in the mid lane was great for Heretics. They were just unable to translate it into much. The only player I realistically think would have been good to have had the goal translated over to would have been Jankos, because he could actually fight a bit better and sustain more. But as the game went on, you looked at it, Jin's not really doing much. Braum just gets deleted or pulled. You've got a Poppy who's trying to be a frontline for essentially just an Azir. And even then, it's just impossible, I think, from a Heretics draft point to deal with what G2 had on the table. And personally, I think the game was just a little bit too easy for G2 to play through. Because Lilia could just clear quite freely. I mean, I'm going to look quickly on GOL at that game. Because it did seem... Yikes. It did seem stupidly easy for G2 to play. Yeah. What was the stat for that one? Goal per minute. Yeah. They just snowballed way too hard for Heretics to deal with. And I mean, Yike got fed. He out-farmed as expected. But it's just insane to see as a whole. To be fair, I'm surprised he actually got 200 farm. That's being kind. But when your top laner is almost matching you in farm, that's not a good thing. Yeah. I get Jin's utility, but it's just not meta. And it doesn't really provide much to the team. And I am ragging on the pick a lot. Because I'm not a big fan of it. In the current meta. It can get better. Don't worry. Who knows? Maybe another Storm Razor buff. Even though it got nerfed in 14.1b. I believe it was nerfed. So yeah, this build makes no sense to me. In terms of a Jhin build. Doesn't seem overly effective. And that's coming from someone who doesn't play ADC. I'm intrigued to see what OP.GG build sites say for Jhin in current meta. Because as a whole, he just... It just feels weird. I'm really confused by it. Oh hey, they've actually put it onto here now. So I can actually see that. Cool. Yeah. That goal graph is really depressing. That's... Top had a lead. Yeah. Makes sense. Anyway. Enough said about this game. The better. I'm going to round it out here and just say this. It was a expected result, I think, in terms of how the game would go. Like, if you came into the season and thought about how these two teams would play off. I think most would assume this would be the case. G2 absolutely destroying their former players. But, yeah, I'm going to say there was a lot of hype around this one, but it didn't really fill the expectations or that hype. So, yeah, I'm done now. I'm going to go sleep in my bed. As, you know, cycle day. I'm tired. So, yeah. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed it, leave a like on this stream, video thing. And I'll see you guys for the next predictions. There is another video. It's definitely coming out. I've just not had time to finish it. Which is motto or the story of everything that I do. I just haven't had time to do it. But yeah, I'm waiting on little bits to be uploaded. I'm doing it in segments, but that's gonna be it for that in terms of an update on it. I've also been playing a bit of Power World, which I'm really... when I say playing, I've basically got to a point where it's boring and realize how much of a Pokemon ripoff it is. But hey, it is what it is. I'm also going to go see if I can watch some hockey, get myself rested, have another shower, and go to bed. See you guys Friday? Technically it's tomorrow when I record it, but I'll see you Friday. Peace out.